When the one with the rifle gets killed, the one who is following picks up the rifle and shoots.
Welcome to the 18th episode of the Pick Up the Rifle and Shoot series, featuring my Canadian C7 AR-15 style build. And yeah, you guessed it right. It's the prequel to the C7A2, the Don Corleone of Godfather 2, the Anakin before Darth Vader. It's Canada's original counterpart to the US M16. Going as far back to 1984, when the C7 became the standard service rifle for the Canadian Armed Forces, marking the beginning of a family of C7 and C8 rifles that Colt Canada, Diemaco, would ultimately produce, forever changing the AR-15 to the modern sporting rifle as we see today. And so, here she is, my tribute to the original, my Canadian C7 AR-15 style build. The C7 is essentially a Colt's Model 715, but given the maple leaf treatment from Colt Canada Diemaco, and I'm not talking about maple syrup here. The C7 boasts a hammer-forged barrel, improved handguards, a C7 upper with brass deflector, A1 rear sight, A2 stock or Colt CS stock, a thinner front sight post, and a capability of full auto fire. It's like if the M16A1 and A2 had a bastard child, the C7 would be it. And what a wonderful bastard she is. Now, I'll go over in more detail, but first, let's make sure she's all clear. First up is the rare complete Colt CS stock assembly, which basically is an A1 length A2 stock, or maybe better to say an A1 stock with an A2 butt plate. C7s were either equipped with a Colt CS or A2 stock, depending on the preference of the user, and I for one prefer the CS stock. Not only is it the perfect length of pull for me, it really complements my C7 build. Next is the lower receiver, a Matrix Aerospace MA-15 lower. This is a standard 7075 T6 aluminum forged A2 lower with a very nice hard anodized black coating. The C7 stripped upper receiver is from KAK Industries. This upper is very well made and is finished with a Delton upper parts kits and their standard charging handle, along with a surplus A1 rear sight assembly from Amherst Military Depot. Next up is the A2 pistol grip from Diemaco, which actually feels a lot like my Colt F1 grip. Underneath you can see a Diemaco logo near the grip screw. It's a really nice addition to my C7 build. Next is the Thermold magazine. Oh, wait, sorry, I meant the Thermold magazine, made for the Canadian Armed Forces, which has the maple leaf logo on the left side. These were issued with the C7s and were known to melt under extended firings, especially with full auto, hence the nickname Thermelts. However, for civilian use, they work just fine and have had no issues. Moving along, the handguards are surplus Colt A2s that even still retain their gloss. The barrel I use is a 20-inch government profile barrel from Delton. It's a non-chrome line, 1-in-9 twist, chrome Moly Vanadium with a standard A2 front side base. I also use a thinner A1 front side post, but still on the lookout for the Diemaco front side post. And on the business end, I'm just using a standard A2 flash hider. Now, let's go flip around to the other side. Here's another view of the Colt CS stock. And I must say, the quality is outstanding. It's even marked with a CS on the right side. Moving along, here's the other side of the receivers. The upper receiver has the Anchor Harvey forge mark and also houses an AO Precision M16 Phosphate bolt carrier group. On the lower receiver, I used the standard lower parts kit from Delton and changed out the standard Mil-Spec trigger from one from CMMG. And lastly, the other side of the Diemaco A2 pistol grip and the Thermold Canadian maple leaf magazine. Overall, I'm very happy how my C7 style build turned out. She closely resembles a C7 with all the parts I used, and finding an original Colt CS stock assembly, Diemaco A2 pistol grip, and Thermold maple leaf magazines is really icing on the cake. My C7 style build is complete. Now, the question is, does she shoot as good as she looks? Well, let's find out. Off to the 50-yard range. But before we begin, apologies for that blurry oil smudge on the right side of this and the 200-yard footage. It got there accidentally while cleaning the barrel during break-in. Well, let's continue on. For my AR-15s, I always zero at 50 yards with a center mass hole. After adjusting the front side for elevation and the rear side for windage, I proceeded to shoot 5 rounds to confirm my zero. Let's see how it went. As you can see, all 5 rounds hit well into the center. Zeroed perfectly. Now, let's see how she does at 200 yards. With the sights untouched for my 50-yard zero, I proceeded to shoot 5 rounds using a 6 o'clock hold. Let's see how it went. The target I'm using is the NRA-C 200-yard target, which has a 13-inch black circle. I also put a Shoot and See 12-inch circle target from Big Dog Targets, so it's easier to see the hits. So the first 5 rounds grouped really well, producing a 4.83 inch group. Elevation was good, and windage was about 3 inches to the right from bullseye, and I'm sure the strong crosswinds had a part in that. But honestly, I'm very impressed with the first 5 rounds at 200 yards. However, shooting just 5 rounds isn't enough. In my opinion, 10 rounds gives the shooter the best measure of what their rifle is capable of and what they're capable of. So, let's go ahead and finish this 10-round session. As you can see, the next 5 rounds grouped in the same area from the first group, and with that data, I can conclude that my Canadian C7 style build can at least do 2.5 MOA at 200 yards with the ammo that I'm using, Academy Monarch 223 55 grain steel case. Shooting 10 rounds gives me an honest measurement of my capability with the ammo that I'm using. I'll measure 8 out of 10 rounds, 80%, allowing 2 for shooter errors and flyers. I know I can do a lot better with more trigger time, but for the first time shooting her at 200 yards, I'm very satisfied. Now, it's time for another steel circle challenge. It's still 10 rounds to knock off 5 6-inch steel circle targets, but this time set 100 meters and with a little twist. No front support except for the use of a sling, a loop sling that is. At 50 yards 0 at 100 meters will hit high, so I held right below the circle. And spoiler alert, I didn't have to try again. Let's see how it went. So it took 7 rounds to complete this challenge. I superimposed all the hits so you can see how the group looks like. About a 2-inch group at 100 meters, which is 1.83 MOA. You can also see I was hitting left of center, and that's because of the loop sling. Slung up tight against my left arm, my rounds always hit to the left, and I should have held slightly to the right, but I'm sure I would have been able to complete this challenge in 5 rounds. But otherwise, it is what it is. Challenge completed. So there you have it, my Canadian C7 AR-15 style build. Not only does she resemble the Canadian C7, but she also performed very well with no malfunctions or issues. My round count is about 400 rounds so far, and I'm sure she'll perform even better with more trigger time and better ammo. Again, I believe the Canadians got it right with their C7 series, and I really appreciate how far they got from the original C7 all the way to the C7A2 and beyond. Now with my C7 video being completed, it got me rethinking what's my favorite 20-inch carry handle AR. Perhaps my next videos will settle that. Again, as always, thanks for watching.